All right, we're live here. Um, Polls have closed in Virginia. We're getting results really quickly here. We're going to be joined for the first. So let's just get right into it. We got the first result. Basically, the first results in here. We're 1% of the vote in here in Virginia. We got the no's. The no's all ahead 55-45. Again, it's a lot of votes coming in from the rural part of the state. And we got more votes coming in here. We got a lot of votes still coming in. And we got the area around Roanoke has gone for the no's. The Democratic aligned vote is the yays. The Republican aligned vote is the nays. Again, the Democratic vote is a lot. Democrats are voting for the yays, Republicans voting for the nays, and there's Loudoun County. Loudoun County immediately just came through, and it's 54-46. So Loudoun early here, it is the yays only leaded by 8 points. Alexandria, Fairfax City came in 63-33 for the yays. And here's my guest, Dante of the blog Tune Out with the Static. He's making his debut and he's gone. All right. I think he'll be back soon, but the yays continue to gain here early here. Chesterfield, that's just south of the city of Richmond, is actually it's a barely in the yay column here. Norfolk 65-35 yay. Virginia Beach is a 10-point in favor of the nays. Early, it seems like. All right, Dante from Tuning Out to Static is here. Welcome back, Dante. Welcome to your first stream of the season.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me on. Looks like we are at the beginning of what could be a long night based on these early results. Certainly a close vote, although yes has taken the lead from
the yays just took the lead.
A big jump from Norfolk, although not quite as big as Harris 2024.
And in Loudoun, we just got we got 12% in Loudoun, and it's only 8 points.
Well, actually, no, we just got another draw. Well, this is interesting. It's now 52% in Loudoun. It's up to 16-point lead. That matches Harris's win in the state. So early on, it looks like we are tracking towards, I would say, a win for yes. But it's going to be a tight one. It's so far as which I think is kind of what we expected. Would you say we kind of expected maybe
yeah,
something more like Harris 2024 if you wanted a recent comparison, Jay Jones in 2025.
Loudoun right now, the yays now lead. We got a little bit of a bigger dump early just now. It's 59-41, so it's 18 points. So that's better than Harris 24.
Yeah, let me pull up Jay Jones quickly because I know he slightly outperformed her in Loudoun, and that's I think what we're looking at here. So just some context. I don't know if As Andy mentioned this already, but essentially, going into today, we knew this was a redder electorate than it was in 2025 when Democrats won a bunch of blowouts across the state. I think we all kind of knew this was not going to necessarily be a blowout result. Obviously, we would not expect this to win independents by a huge margin, and we would not expect Democrats to turn out as hard. That was a little bit more in of a question mark, but it's clear going today that election turnout is going to be lower than it was in 2025.
And what is in stake here for Virginia in the redistricting referendum?
Yeah, so actually, J. Miles Coleman, I believe, from Sabantos Crystal Ball, just posted, I think, a very simple way of putting this up, which is to say that if this passes tonight, 4 seats that are currently leaning towards Republicans will become Democratic, will be pushed into either leans or likely Democrat. Some of those seats are seats that right now are completely uncompetitive, like Virginia. Is Ben Klein VA06 or VA07?
I think it's 06. 07 is Vindman.
Okay, yeah. Vindman, I think
And
I think Vindman might end up getting moved if this passes. I think he might end up getting the new first, which is Whitman, but Whitman's
yeah, it's
it's a
Whitman.
the point is 4 seats are going to become much more Democratic leaning. So, Democrats have marked this as kind of a part 2 to their effort in California to balance out what Republicans have done in Texas and in Missouri and are currently attempting to do in Florida. If this passes, and we just got a big jump from where the heck did that come from?
I think it was
I think
Virginia
okay.
Beach area.
It was more from Norfolk.
Portsmouth
Norfolk,
just came in
yeah, up to
as
a
well,
30
and
point lead.
wow,
A 30-point lead in Norfolk, and then a
like
little gain for
42.
no.
Some
Yeah,
of these
so
areas are very early, like here in Portsmouth. Harris won there by 39, and it's a 94-point lead right now for the Yays. And over in Montgomery, this is a 3-point win for Harris 2 years ago, but now it's 74-26. Again, very early. We're only 10% of the way through. So looking at it, if the Yays are going to win, if the Noes would win, what would it look like for like Loudon, and if we're matching like Glenn Youngkin, for example, what would it look like? And like,
well, that's a great question. Let me quickly pull up the 2021 results in the state. Yeah, the path for no to win, because look, we can talk all we want. The truth is, Virginia at this point is a blue state. It might not be as blue as California, but this is a blue leaning state we're working with here. So
Colorado or
the path,
Colorado.
yeah, the path to win. Well, Colorado is, I would say, even bluer than Virginia. I can't imagine Colorado
Yeah.
ever electing a Republican governor at this point. But point being, the path for Republicans to win this was always going to be terrible Democratic turnout, which they kind of got. They got
We
bad enough. They didn't get awful Democratic turnout, but they got poor enough turnout that they could win in the state, and then they needed to win over independents. So far they've gotten poor turnout, but not incredibly poor turnout. And based on the early results we've got so far, it doesn't quite look like they're getting where they need among independents. And so you mentioned Loudoun County. I think a lot of Democrats in particular, but I think pretty much everyone who was closely following elections in 2024 remembers what happened in Loudoun County when Harris popped up there and was only winning by 16. And it became clear that she was going to win that county by less than Joe Biden did when everyone expected it to move left in 2024. So a place like Loudoun County, which is traditionally Republican, suburban, has a lot of very educated, highly educated, increasingly diverse, very close to the Beltway, to the district. That's where you'd expect to see some independents who maybe are now pretty Democratic leaning, but have been traditionally Republican, to strip away and vote against a redistricting measure like this. Currently, with 75% in, yes leads by 18 points in Loudoun County. That's larger than Harris That's more than Harris won it by in 2024. She won there by 16. I talked about the Jay Jones race, very highly covered attorney general's race in Virginia last year. A lot of people expected independents to turn against Jay Jones in droves because of those text messages he sent. But he won Loudoun County by 19 points. He won it 59-40 over the incumbent, Jason Mayeras. That's actually slightly better than what Yes is currently running, although we'll see there's still a few votes left to be counted. So when you look at 2021, which you also mentioned, when Glenn Youngkin very narrowly won the governor's race, he was able to hold that margin in Loudoun County down to 11 points. He only lost to Terry McAuliffe by about 11 points in Loudoun County. So there's still votes to be counted, and it's not all down to one county. But when you look at where we're going through so far, it just doesn't seem like enough independents have turned on the Democrats in this race. And we talk a lot about Democratic turnout not being good, and it wasn't. It was much, much worse than 2025, but it wasn't horrendous. It wasn't awful. So, there was a path for no, but they still needed a lot of persuasion wins. They still needed to pull over a lot of independents, and it doesn't look so far like that's happening, but there's still ways to go. And they did just get a big boost as we get more from Southwest Virginia, which is obviously coming in very hard for no.
Yeah, and that's probably the only place where Republicans are going to survive in this new map. We're probably going to redistrict both Klein and Morgan Griffiths, the one for Southwest Virginia, into the same district. But Klein also could try and run in the new district that is going to take a bit of Loudoun County in, if I remember correctly. But as the nose counter is now being countered by more yeses from the we're almost 100% in now in Loudoun County, and it's up to 22-point lead for the no's. Loudoun is up to 94%. Loudoun.
It says 94%, but yes, that would be a very good result for Loudoun, and it does seem like it's growing as more votes come in.
It's a 22-point lead there in Loudoun. And we got more Suffolk County. This is just south of Virginia Beach. It's a Harris 16-point county. Suffolk lead. It's a 88-12 margin right now.
Here comes Prince William.
Prince William, just south of the.
And Arlington is also coming in.
And there's Arlington too. Oh wow, 84-16. It's probably going to be close. It might not be a long night as we get votes pretty quickly here.
It might not be. Right now, this is slightly outperforming Harris. It's in some places it's outperforming Jay Jones, and he won by about 6 or 7 points. Actually,
and there's the nose take the lead. I think we just got some results out of back into deep red Southwest Virginia.
Well, it looks like this area up here and kind of I don't know what this area is called in Virginia, but you can see a lot of exurban counties like Fauquier County, Culpeper, Madison. You can kind of see big results, and it's pretty small, but you can see big results. Here's an interesting early result out of Stafford County. This was Harris plus 0.8, but in the first results, and it's a very, very small amount, 14-point lead for no. So we'll keep an eye on that one. It's only 8% in, but that is a Harris County where currently a big lead for no, and yes retakes the lead, as I think we get Loudoun is now down to 85% in, so I don't think they actually know how many votes are out of there, which I think we've seen happen before with Loudoun County. As we get some more of the Virginia Beach area coming in. And here's a good
one of the area in 24.
Here's like a good example of this. We talked about Stafford County, now up to 25% in, and it's down to just a 6-point lead for the no side.
Stafford is...
That was Harris plus 0.8.
And it's in somewhere in near...
It's up in the suburban part of the state, yeah.
Yeah, Alexandria. Harris won by just under a point, and And yes, no, it's having a pretty good result so far, but like Dante said, we are like it's still no's are catching up in Stafford and in Farquhar County. Although Trump won here by 22, I think Spanberger won there.
We have our first live forecast projection from the NYT, which says that which is currently projecting, and remember it's still early. This is not a final projection, but is currently projecting that yes will win with about 52%, which is pretty close. Is quite a bit closer than both Harris at 2024 and Jay Jones in 2025. So we'll continue monitoring that. I'm looking for completed counties.
And we got our benchmarks. We got our benchmarks here. Brunswick County, yes, is beating the benchmark by 8 points. Essex, 8 points as well for the yes. And up here, Matthews, 5 points. But another good result here is Lexington is 6 points ahead of benchmark. So Democrats are doing better with their benchmarks. But again, the benchmarks are always going to be a big overperformance for the Democrats if they match out some of the Jay Jones numbers from last November. The no's early in trouble early, but we still have not gotten Fairfax, which would be a big bunch of votes. And we got some of these where yes and no are on track in the report of vote here. On the 24 map, Harris won. Yes, the yeses voted for Harris by 11. Okay, so
it looks like in some of the completed counties, we do have areas where no is outperforming a little bit. But remember, in order to win this, you would expect that on average, you need a no on average to be outperforming Trump 2024 by about 6 points. So we need like a 6% swing on average. So far in the completed counties, even the ones where it's getting a swing, it's not getting a big enough swing. It's getting maybe a 3 to 4% swing. And we have a couple completed counties, and I'm looking for one here where you're actually seeing it do worse than Trump in 2024. So these are the reasons why I would say that we are currently on track for a narrow yes win. It's going to be close, but I still think that yes is tracking towards a narrow win.
And we're up to 90% in Loudon, and it's 61-39. We're waiting again on Virginia Beach and the surrounding areas there. It's only 5 and 20% in there, and only 20% in only 25% in Norfolk, and over in Portsmouth, 24%. So it's still very early down there in the Virginia Beach area, where it is going to be a very competitive election no matter what down there this fall between former Congresswoman Elaine Luria and Congresswoman Jen Kangans. And the no's just lost some ground, and we got Charlottesville just dropped, and it's 88-12. But we're getting more and more votes out here, and where the old 9th congressional district is right now, and it's overwhelmingly going for the no's right now.
Currently, they're saying 90% in Loudon, but it's been changing all night. Still nothing out of Fairfax. They're saying we got 46% in from Prince William. I think we're waiting on election day votes in some of these places, which might be slowing it down a bit. We'll see how much that swings it, but that would be election day votes. I think if you get to a certain point with those, and you can eventually get close to calling the race.
Yeah, it's going to be very close. If no's somehow win this, it will look very bad for the new governor Abigail Spanberger. She spent a lot of time campaigning for this.
Yes, and her approval rating has not been great to start her term. So
The no's continue to gain in the areas where Democrats are usually not really performing great in any elections, which is in the old Klein and the old Morgan Griffith district, where Trump won both by very deep margins just under 2 years ago. I think I think Loudon is the only one that has been fully dropping for the Democrats here. Um, the rest of
yeah,
the
Loudon.
Democratic leaning areas are early.
Yeah, Loudon has been very good for the Yes campaign so far. But the thing we have to remember is we're still waiting for the big bomb in Fairfax County. Henrico County will be a nuke for the Yes side, we presume. No currently holding on to a 4-point lead. The NYT has not changed its forecast of a 52% yes win. Yeah, I'm still looking at the 20.
According to the NYT, the no's have not been able to reach any of their benchmarks yet. And actually, in Loudon, Democrats are performing 11 points better than what they were benchmarked to do.
Yeah, that's been a very impressive result for them so far. Of course, we're still waiting for Loudon to complete counting its votes. Now, looking looking at the 2025 Attorney General's race, which is my big comp here. We do have some good results for no. Small rural county in West VA, Bath County. Let me see if I can find it on the map. Bath County, that was 77-23 Mieres with 100% in. It's 81-19 no. So there's a good result for the no campaign. One of these small cities out here, I won't try to make you find this because they're super difficult, but Lexington City, 22% win for yes. That was a 26% Jay Jones win. So that's a place where they've been helped. The problem for no is that these are small areas, and so that you keep doing much worse in a big area like Loudon.
Yeah, in Loudon, again, if you want to look at a Republican win for it, you got to look at the 2021 Attorney General, Governor, and Lieutenant Governor. Or they all got Loudon almost to single digits, and with 92% of the vote in, it's still a 22-point lead for the Democratic aligned yes campaign. And I think Virginia Democrats have been eyeing this since before Spanberger was even elected.
Yeah, they've been talking about this since October or so of last year.
Yeah, the Democratic president pro tem of the Senate, of the Virginia Senate, who is been one of the most frequent people supporting it on Twitter, has been calling for it since October. And with a supermajority, just easily was able to pass the state legislature. Spanberger signed the bill, and then we have the voters choosing rather to abandon the IRC and put in this map that will last until 2030, and then I'm assuming Republicans will at least get 2 of those seats back in 2030 after the redistricting.
Now, something I think we should probably note here is that even if if yes goes on to win today, and we still think that's going to be happen, but it is close. But if yes does go on to win today, we still would have to wait on a decision from the Virginia Supreme Court. Officially deciding this, it's kicked that can down the road. Most legal experts seem to agree that if yes passes, the Virginia Supreme Court will not stop it. It will not get in the way. But you never know. We don't know for sure, so we'll have a little bit of something to think about there.
And in Missouri, we're waiting on their Supreme Court to decide if there will be a referendum. Democrats have said in Missouri that they got enough signatures to force a referendum on this, on their redistricting, and we'll see what their Supreme Court will say also. Again, looking good for Nose and Loudon, but in the yes column, they're looking very good out in the western part of the state, in the coal areas in the mountains. It's looking very good. We got very deep brown here in the mountain areas. So
yeah, the rural counties have, and this is what you'd expect, with something that's this partisan. You don't, you can come up with a universe where some Republicans voted for Abigail Spanberger last November because of how they felt about Winsome Earl Sears. It's very, very hard to imagine that there are many, if any, Republicans voting to, basically destroy the Virginia Republican Party. So I think that's why you're seeing just such a dominant performance for yes in the West Virginia. I mean, even for Republicans, this is pretty impressive stuff. I mean, you look at Lee County, the furthest west county in the state. Trump plus 72. Right now, No is winning by 80 points. No has 90% of the vote.
but that's very early still, 28% of the vote in. No's
Yeah,
dominance in the western part of the state continues to bolster the margin, but again, we're still waiting on a couple of nukes for Democrats out of Fairfax, which is right across the river from Washington, and then again, Chat Henrico, which is the outskirts of a bunch of the part of Richmond and the surrounding areas of Richmond.
the biggest issue for No
Richmond
is
proper also big. What's the biggest issue for No?
Is that, well, it's actually doing what it probably, not necessarily what it needs to do, but is doing pretty well in some small areas of the state. In some of the bigger areas that we've had come in so far, it's not getting anywhere close.
Yeah, actually, they're doing way better than Trump in the rural areas, but they're doing way worse than Trump in, say, Loudoun County, where they're underperforming Trump by almost 7 points, I think. So if they want to win, they better hope that they can, the stuff for the what's left in Loudoun is very heavy for them, and hope that Richmond and Henrico counties, Richmond proper and Henrico County, and there comes Albemarle County, which is the rest of the Charlottesville area, and it is a very decent early result, but it's underperforming Kamala Harris though. Again, we're still waiting on Richmond proper and Fairfax County. Once we get those, we'll have a pretty good idea where this night will be going. And in Prince William, we still only have half the vote in. And
Also, I just wanted to quickly point out, already over 1 million votes cast. Decent turn, very solid, very strong turnout for this. Obviously not as strong as the 2025 elections, but still, for a random Tuesday in April, people came out to vote.
And that's good on both parties. Back in November, the Republicans were basically wiped out everywhere. And this is probably just the final blow until at least the 2030 elections. Maybe 29 if they somehow get a Republican governor, but the Republican Party of Virginia is in real jeopardy of not even having two Congress people.
Yeah, in fact, and honestly, you could make the argument that as far as just in turning out their voters, you could actually argue that this is more impressive from the Republicans on the Virginia side than the Democrats, but it doesn't seem like it's been enough so far.
They currently lead by 100,000 votes, but obviously, I think almost a quarter, almost a half a million. I think votes are in Fairfax alone. I think like pretty big batch of votes are in Fairfax. What was the what's for compare? And they are now saying Loudon is completely done. Here on the New York Times, they said 95 greater than 95% of the votes in. It's 61-22. Loudon is complete.
It may be. I'm honestly not sure. New York Times has been like readjusting. New York Times has been adjusting that. I mean, even now they say on their thing that there's like still 7,000 votes left, which to be fair, I would imagine would all be like provisionals that would be very, very blue or in favor of yes. I don't know. We'll see. They've been adjusting their projections on that all night.
But it's basically all in Loudon, I think. And that is obviously not good for the no campaign here. But good. A nice job on the Republicans part getting their base out here in the western part of the state where they usually don't really show out a lot in these races.
It's been a while since we've gotten a Prince William update as well.
We're still in on Fairfax as well. We haven't gotten any. It's also been a while since we got Chesterfield, which is a narrow lead for yes. But yeah, looking at some of these results, Buchanan is 100% in. It is a Trump plus 71 county. It ended up being a no plus 80 to 76. Wise 7 points to the right. We got Lee 8 points to the right. So, I mean, that's a very good turnout for Republicans here in the western part of the state. However, it's still very early here.
So the Vote Hub is saying that the election day vote in Loudoun was yes 13 plus 13.7. Obviously, we're still
Ooh.
waiting on some more votes in across the rest of Northern Virginia. I'm not Northern Virginia. Haven't gotten anything from Fairfax. I'm not sure we've got an election day from Prince William. I think that's maybe all early votes. But of course, if that holds, the path to no is like there's not really a path. You know, we're hearing reports that turnout in some of the black areas of the state was not great today. So that would be something the Vote Hub suggests could be a problem for yes. But if this Northern Virginia surge holds, it's very difficult to see how no could pull this back off.
Just for context, how did Youngkin do in Prince William? In Fairfax. Actually, Prince William as well. How did Youngkin do in Prince William and Fairfax?
He did. Let me pull it up. Youngkin lost Fairfax by about 31 points, and he lost in Prince William by about 15 points. William was, and then in 2024, Harris won it by 35, so that much better than McAuliffe, and she won Prince William by 18. So you can see a couple of little, just put together little over performances across the state, and Youngkin found his way in there. But
At this point, with 41%, no's continue to gain votes, especially out here in deep West Virginia, on the border of the actual West Virginia. It's actually not looking great. And in the city of Williams Harrisonburg, this is a 25-point Harris city, and it's not even. It's actually 30 points, close to 30 points right now for the Yays. We're just still waiting. We're still having barely anything out here. Only like
I
a
mean,
third, a quarter to a third out here in Virginia Beach, Norfolk area.
also nothing, yeah, nothing from Fairfax, nothing from Henrico, nothing from Richmond. Those are areas we're waiting on to see. New York Times has held its even we're up to 42% in or so, and New York Times is continuing to project that yes will win with 52% of the vote. That has been their projection at this point the entire night. Well, yeah, ever since they started their live forecast, it has been yes by about 4 points, and they continue to hold on to that.
We just got updated results here in Chesterfield. The no's just taking back the lead there, but we're all just waiting for. Chesterfield could actually flip here, but I just don't think it's going to be enough here for the no's. I'm pretty sure Yudkin did win Chesterfield in 21. Bernanke right now is just going over the completed counties, and they're saying he's looking at it. The no's have in the completed counties, the no's have underperformed.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of a mixed bag, you know.
We just got more votes in, and I don't. It's probably out in the western areas once again. And there we go. We got more votes than no's gained. I think the question now is, can the no's hold again? Fairfax and Richmond and Henrico. Like the no's have built pretty good firewall, but obviously we remember we know how in 24 and well in any election how Republicans build a early lead out in the West, and then when DC and Richmond start to come in, the Republican leads just start to evaporate and then just fully disappear. It's probably gonna be one of those nights again. Like no seem like they're gonna win in a landslide early, and then just as the Northern Virginia suburbs come in, the leads just evaporate. The yeses have basically hit their benchmark and actually surpassed it in many counties so far. So again, another good sign for the yes column, as we're just waiting for final confirmation here from Henrico and Fairfax.
Yeah, I mean, and those are really swing counties because that could push this from what it currently looks like. You know, what we're looking at, like from where it stands right now, it looks like we're going to have a narrow yes win where no is overperforming in a lot of places, but just not overperforming by enough, and then it's underperforming by quite a bit in one really big place. So Prince William and Henrico and like Richmond, those areas, I don't think that's going to swing it to no or anything, but there's a reason I haven't called it quite yet. But at the same time, it could swing it from, what we're currently seeing, which we think is going to be a pretty narrow victory for yes, or, potentially one that's a little bit on the larger side.
And now Fairfax is expected to be almost 400,000 votes alone in Fairfax. And there's still almost 90,000 votes left in 80,000 votes left in Prince William. So that is right there in Northern Virginia. That's almost 500,000 votes in just Prince William and Fairfax alone, which if it's 2/3, just say 2/3 goes to the Democrats to no. It would be probably like a 300,000 vote lead for the yays. If 300, if it's 2-1, that 500,000 votes 2-1, I think the yays will have a pretty decent lead there afterwards.
Another area like, here, Chesterfield County, that was Harris +9. It's currently 50-50 with the narrowest leads of leads for no. Another example of where no is doing what it needs to do, but, might just not be doing it by quite enough.
And same thing with Virginia Beach and Chesapeake counties. Harris won Virginia Beach by 3. Norfolk Chesapeake went by 4. Suffolk went to Harris by 16. The no's are doing well, and Virginia Beach just came in, and it just shifted from being a 13-point lead for the no's to a 2-point lead for the yays.
This
So
was a
that
Harris plus 3
was a
county.
huge shift for the yays there.
Jay Jones won it by he won it by actually less than Harris. He won it by under 2 points.
So a huge swing early here from Virginia Beach. We got a ton of votes from Virginia Beach, and it shifted it from a 13-point lead. It shifted it by 15 points with a snap of a finger, and now it's a 7-point lead for the no's. And in Virginia Beach, they're expecting no's to have the narrowest of margins when the results are fully done. Hanover.
Did we get? Oh, I think that might have been that was a bunch from Prince William.
Okay.
It looks
wow.
Like
they completely just finished it, and it's a 26-point win.
That's a big overperformance from Harris 24 once again. Not a great result for no in a much bigger county. You know, they can do all these overperformances in smaller counties, but that is pretty 8-point overperformance from Harris 20. That's actually perfectly matches Jay Jones, who also overperformed Harris by quite a bit in Prince William.
I always went to 7-Eleven. I always buy it for like $5. Yeah, I got so chill.
We have seen yes start to break into no's lead here in general. It's now 52.8 to 47.2. There's a few more votes come in, but don't really shift it either way.
The forecast still says 52% for the no's.
I just noticed that we have our very small batch from Richmond. It is a very small lead for no. It's a very small batch. It's a 6-point lead for no. This was Harris plus 66. So we'll see what comes in there. And is that Henrico? Fucking finally. Sorry for swearing. Henrico comes in and a 30-point lead for yes. This is Harris plus 29. So only 22% in, but exactly where we'd expect it to be. And now we wait on.
That's what.
No. Yes, just took the lead in Richmond too. Still only 5%, but now it's up by 5. So now we wait for Fairfax.
And I'm assuming we're going to get a huge nuke out there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest count. That's the biggest county remaining, but it's definitely the biggest just in general. There's a few, smaller counties that are I expect in general will be red leaning. We've got Hanover, Trump plus 26, Cumberland, Trump plus 22, Campbell, Trump plus 49, Southampton, Trump plus 26. But really Fairfax is where it's at. There might be some independent cities that haven't reported yet, but I don't see any. I think that we're like good. I think they're all at least reporting. And a lot of them are probably finished by now. Like Fairfax City is finished. For the record, yes won by 34 points, which is a 1 point overperformance from Harris plus 33. And yes, and yep, the forecast remains 52% even after our first batch from Henrico and Richmond. And yeah, the yes votes as we expect are continuing to gain in Richmond, the city.
Yeah, we got now up to 7%.
Yeah, Richmond is Richmond is like doing very slow drops. It's going from like 5% to 7% to 10%, but it's now yes 69-33. So it is now I think perfectly matched with Harris's 2024 performance there when she won by 66 points in Richmond, the city. And for the record, unlike a lot of areas like that, Richmond is like there. You're going to get a lot of votes out of Richmond. It's an independent city, but it is a very big one. And I would note that oh wait, I'm dumb. You know what? I cannot do math. No, it has not matched Kamala Harris 66 points. It's up by 38 in Richmond. There's a lot of votes to come in. It will probably end up getting pretty close to that at this rate, but that ignore that. That is on me. I cannot math.
Southampton would be a pretty decent batch for no, but we're going to expect no's to start losing ground in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach suburb of Chesapeake. It could be a narrow win, but for no there. But other than that, I don't see any more places where yes can actually catch up here. At this point, they probably need to win Fairfax, or at least have it decently cut the lead in the margin there in Fairfax to win now. Just for reference, Richmond is the capital of the state of Virginia. It is we're now up to almost 60% in. It's a 5-point lead for no. We're just waiting for Fairfax to put no on the yes on top for good, basically.
It also could come from a big boost from Henrico, which is still only 22% reporting.
Looking at the estimated remaining votes, we got 45,000 in Virginia Beach, which is at 70%, 58, 48 in Chesapeake, 105,000 in Henrico. We got, let's see, 70,000 in Richmond, 34 in Hampton. Yeah, 390,000 votes out of Fairfax. Hanover is where you expect the next best batch for the nose. But
Yeah,
it will not be enough, obviously.
Yeah,
If they
Hanover and
continue to do this right.
Hanover and Southampton are the two places where we still don't have any results, outside of Fairfax, obviously. Yeah, and we'd expect no to gain from both those, but obviously far more will be coming from Fairfax.
At this rate, it would probably need to be like a no plus a yes plus 20 for the nose if they want to win this race now, if it's relying on Fairfax. And Suffolk just gave us a lot of votes. Well, a decent amount of votes where they now have the yeses lead there by 6 points. We're getting into the McClellan district now, which is everything between outside of Virginia Beach and Norfolk up towards Richmond.
Yeah, and in a place like Norfolk, you see the yes margin matching Kamala Harris's exactly. 42 points.
The forecast is still yet to change. It's still 52% expected to be the victory margin for the yeses. We'll get to see the congressional district map later on, but I'm assuming that Virginia 2 and 7 will be the biggest bellwethers.
Yeah, let me quickly check on just the current proposal. So I talked about Sabato's crystal ball. They're basically saying, as I said, Eugene Vindman, we would expect him now under the new lines to run in what will be the new Virginia 1. They will move that from likely Republican to likely Democrat. VAO 2, where Jen Kiggins is currently the incumbent and will probably stay the incumbent, is going to go from toss-up to leans Democrat. The new VAO 6 will be safe Republican to likely D, and the new VAO 5, will be safe Republican to likely D. New VA 6
Fairfax.
Ooh.
Fairfax has dropped.
And a big 50 point. That's a big overperformance if that holds, although it's only 9%. It did not give yes the lead, which means we are still going to have to chill a little bit longer to see yes take the lead, but that's probably just because a lot of the votes have not been counted.
It teased us a little bit.
And you don't say this a lot, but the big areas here have really dominated. This is a very clear example of no getting what it needs in rural places, getting what it needs in some smaller cities, but the suburbs, the big areas, the big dogs in the state for Democrats coming out in a big way for the yes campaign.
Yeah,
and for the
record,
the margins on these new seats. So the new VA01, which currently Rob Whitten represents it, we expect under the new lines, from what's been reported, that now to be Eugene Vindman's seat. That is going to be Harris plus 7. The new VAO2 is going to be about Harris plus 5. We expect Jen Kiggins to run there. That's going to be the most competitive of the seats, I would say. The new VAO6 is going to be Harris plus 9, and the new VAO5 is going to be Harris plus 9, and the new VA6 will be Harris plus 3. But in the case of that new VA6, I'm not sure there's going to be a Republican incumbent running there, which could result in the 2nd district being the most competitive of this group. The new VA1 with a Democratic incumbent, and the new VAO7 VAO5 being D plus 9. I think both those will be pretty safe flips.
Yeah, and this is to counteract what's potentially to come out of Florida. Ron DeSantis has actually delayed the special session. It was supposed to start yesterday, I believe. They delayed it till next week. And we're also waiting a potential a VRA decision from the SCOTUS, which could come out tomorrow as well. So, but that is going to be a potential 2028 problem, as most states now have maxed out their time to redistrict. And speaking of redistricting, we got a few special elections coming up in states that have redistricted. In Texas, where we'll have the old Texas 23 be used for the final time. And I'm assuming, but I don't think it'll be during the interim between now and the election day. I believe it's going to happen alongside the normal November election to potentially let Brandon Herrera take the seat early. And then
has that election been scheduled yet?
No, it has not.
Are we sure it's gonna happen?
I believe Abbott's probably going to schedule it for the election day and have a potential runoff on like January or December. But I'm pretty sure I believe it will be just the current nominee. There's a couple of independents. That's why I say runoff potentially. We're continuing to get votes here. We're now over 2 million votes reported here. Looking at estimated votes left, we still have over 300,000 votes still left to report in Fairfax. In Henrico, we still have almost 100, just over 100,000. The city of Richmond, we had just under 70,000. So that is pretty much where we stand right now, with 64% of the vote in, now 65. Again, the margin continues to just shrink a little bit here for the no's.
Yeah. Still no new. Richmond has kind of slowed down on its reporting, and still no second drop from Henrico after that initial one.
And nothing yet from Fairfax either.
Yeah, nothing new. Well, it's still only 9%.
No's have taken the lead in Virginia Beach. So for the no's, we're just watching to see how well they outperform Trump now. Like with Loudon done, Fairfax looking very good. It's going to end up being close, but how close? Will it be the Harris margin, the Jones margin, or will it be closer to like a 2006, 2012 Senate election type race here? Margin here.
Hard for me to say at this point, I would say.
There's more votes coming in, and the yes is now down to 4-point deficit. And why don't you? I'm surprised we got in there a mini drop from Richmond. It's now 74-26 in favor of the yes. Ironically, at this rate, it could actually surpass Harris's margin from just less than 2 years ago.
I don't know if I'd say that so far, and the forecast would agree. But yeah, it continues to get a little bit closer here. As far as
Yep.
yes. Richmond keeps slowly but surely reporting votes.
Norfolk is now done. 7129. Portsmouth is done. 7129. Suffolk still has not hardly reported anything.
Down to a 3-point lead for yes. And NYT is remaining steadfast at the 52% projection. They have not budged from that all
Yeah,
night.
we just got a new under new gal Fairfax. It's now 7327.
Yeah, so
Went from 9% to 20%.
a slight decline for Democrats there, but in terms of the margin, but the net, the raw votes are helpful. And we're also continuing to get more out of Richmond, which is now up to 17% in.
All right. All right. Still very slow out Richmond. Now up to 18%. It's a 50-point lead now out Richmond.
Yeah, we're still waiting on any more new drops from Henrico. Yeah, I mean it's Virginia's not always the quickest at counting, although they have gotten better, I would say, in the last few years than they were in the 2016, 2020 range, where you'd often be waiting overnight to hear Virginia if the race was close.
Obviously, it was not close in 2020.
And we're slowly moving towards here. We'll see. I do think yes is going to pull this out. I might wait till it takes the lead to call it, but I might not. We're just kind of waiting this down as we watch Henrico, Richmond, and Fairfax slowly put this one away. But we'll see what the final margin ends up being. That's primarily what we're watching right now.
All right. We're up to 68% of the vote in. And obviously that's coming from Richmond again. It's now up to 22%. A slow process here. Slow process.
And we'll see what the implications of this going to be, assuming it is not struck down by the Virginia Supreme Court, which seems slightly fair.
But if you're Republicans, you're probably sort of happy about this result, even though you're not going to win, most likely. You're pretty happy about the result. Especially if you're like going into this, people thought, well, after November, people thought that Virginia's GOP is probably dead in the water. But their voters are still voting heavily for them. Just look at some of these numbers out here in the West. Wise County 85-15, Lee County 91-9. It's probably going to be even more single digit, be even less of a vote. We got 89-11. We got 80-20. Like it is very good for Republicans out there, but if it wasn't for, I say if it was even near Kamala margins in Loudon, I think the no's would probably still would probably be in this race, but because Loudon being really good for Democrats in the yes column, I say it was. Once we saw Loudon go final, which I think it is final now, it signaled it being bad because I think you would want it to be slightly underperforming for Harris if you wanted to win, if you were the Republicans here. We got more votes. I'm assuming it's Richmond. It is Richmond. It's now 76-24 with a 29% lead in now. Still slugging along. Dante probably just had problems with his tech, or he had to leave. But it's pretty clear that Yes is the pretty big favorite right now. It did like the no's are probably just the no's have already maxed out their support. This was a risky move by a newly elected governor, Spanberger. And I'm assuming this is another Richmond drop. No, it's not. What just dropped? Was there Virginia Beach? Was it? It was Virginia Beach and Chesapeake. Narrow advantage for both. And more votes just came in, and I'm assuming it is Richmond again. It's up to 29%, 76-24. Nothing more from him. And there's an arrow back from Fairfax as well. Again, a very risky move for a spam burger. But it does seem like she probably did use most of her capital she had from that win on this. Still about 40,000 vote lead here. The no's are pretty much done here. Just ran out of real estate for them. It's now less than a half a point. We probably just got in there about Richmond. Again, it's yeah. Richmond continues to be the pain for continues to the Richmond results just continue to chop this lead. We probably just got a minor result out of oh, there we go. We got Henrico. Oh wait, no, that was not Chesterfield. It was Chesterfield, I believe. And more votes. I'm guessing Richmond? No. And we're just watching the leads shrink more and more. Republicans just gain votes. Hanover does drop. Obviously, not enough. Obviously, and Southampton does drop this vote. Obviously, it's not enough. Yeah. And we're back to nose. I think we just got an Richmond vote drop here, and we sure did. It continued, and we got another vote drop out of Southampton. So it looks like now Southampton and Richmond are trading blows right now. All right, so right now we're watching as Richmond City in Southampton County continues to trade blows, and we got no results. More Southampton just came in, but I believe it was just countered by a Richmond result, and it was. So margins just keep staying the same. And more votes. I believe it was more Southampton. No, it was not. It was Hanover. It was Hanover. And more votes coming in. And I believe it was more Hanover. No, it was Southampton. No. It's somewhere red. Well, brown on this map. Brown or orange. I don't care what it is. It's more votes for the no's. And then Yays has got more votes. It was from, was it Fairfax? No, it was Virginia Beach, I think. I don't know where these are coming in. I believe we're just down to basically Richmond, Henrico, and Fairfax remaining. We're just waiting for the now call punch here. For the yay. Again, the reason why yays are on their way to win is because Republicans basically ran out of real estate out here in the West. And wow, Waynes has got more votes. I believe it's Richmond. Yes, it is Richmond. 80-20 now for the yays. And more Southampton just came in. Like a lot of these area here, south and west of Roanoke, and here west of Charlottesville, Republicans just basically ran out of real estate out here, and they underperformed Trump out here in the Northern Virginia. They couldn't do enough here in Richmond, and they're not really doing what they need to do out here in Virginia Beach, Norfolk, to win. That's really what the major problem for Republicans are, and we just got our Richmond drop. Remember, if you want a refresher, the R's are the no. No's are the Republican aligned. The yes is Democratic aligned. I think we just got more Richmond in. Up to 47. It's been been a while since we got stuff out of Fairfax, which has been stuck at 29% for a bit. And we just got more results out of Richmond. The Richmond votes are just coming in slowly. They're coming in small pockets every like 2-3 minutes. So the margin continues to shrink for the no's, which is the Republican aligned camp. All right, we're still waiting on more the last few votes. For we're watching Richmond. We're waiting on Fairfax. We're waiting on the rest. And it is another. The Republicans continue. Southampton continues to benefit from the Republicans. I believe we just got more Richmond. Yep, we did. No, yes has taken the lead. The yes has taken the lead. It just came out of Fairfax County. We got a drop out of Fairfax County. The yes has taken the lead. And that pretty much. We're going to start seeing networks potentially call this one soon. And we got our Richmond drop. The yes just gained more. We just got more votes. It was Richmond. more votes. Once again, it was Richmond and some of Fairfax. Southampton is done. Southampton done. And it looks like Hanover's done. So Republican, the Democrats, and their yes campaigns should continue to gain from here. We're getting projections now. Hub and State Navigator has both called this race for the yays. I think it's about time for me to say that this is going to be a yes win. Yes, gains more votes. It's safe to say that this should be a win for the yes campaign. Abigail Spanberger can sigh without a huge sigh of relief. And I'm going to call it the stream here, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And there's the projection.